You're reading the books, listening to the podcast, watching videos like this one, and still feeling frustrated that you're stuck in the same patterns. I spent nearly 2 decades diving into spirituality, self-help modalities, anything I could get my hands on. And I lived for the aha moments. You read a new book, something clicks in you, and you think, oh, now I really get it. This is going to be the thing that makes the change. And then something happens and you find yourself repeating the same pattern or attracting the same patterns, and you think, is anything ever going to change? I believe the answer is yes. I want to talk about 3 reasons why you might be feeling stuck despite all the trying. And I want to talk about one thing that I was completely wrong about and have changed my mind on since. If you're new here, hi, my name is Dia, and I help people close the gap in the messy middle by making transformation playful instead of painful, approaching it with curiosity instead of control. The first reason why a lot of people might get stuck is chasing the intellectualization high. The patterns that took years, sometimes decades, to become our default setting doesn't care if we read 50 books on attachment theory. They need to experience safety and connection, not just understand it. And our nervous system, our body, is intelligent. It is smart enough to track when our affirmations does not align with our choices and actions, which leads to the second thing that might be keeping us stuck. It sounds like an annoying platitude, but it's true. We have to first accept ourselves before we're able to make change. If you're rolling your eyes right now like I used to, don't worry, I got you. I can only change once I accept myself. But if I want to change in the first place, doesn't that mean I don't accept myself? So how does this work? Here's my poor attempt at acting out 2 different scenarios. What is wrong with you? Why do you keep doing the same thing over and over? You should know better. What are all those books you're reading doing? It's changing nothing. Hey, I get it. It feels really scary because this feels like something you've experienced before, and the last time it didn't go very well. It makes total sense why you're reacting this way, but do you think it's possible if we just stepped back for a moment? That felt really cheesy. Imagine you're trying to help a scared child learn something new. If you scream at them, telling them they're broken and that they need to be fixed, that child is going to immediately shut down. And that's exactly what we're doing to ourselves. So when we do this, we're literally activating the same mechanism that keeps us stuck in the same patterns. And the last one is going to be a hard one to hear. The reality is sometimes the most loving thing we can do is to leave, to create space for something new, something different. Is there a friend from your childhood that continues to reinforce your old stories and your old identity? Is the job you're in continue to make you feel worthless, like you don't matter? But that's not for me to decide, that's for you to think about. Like I said earlier, I tried all the modalities. Besides just learning intellectually, I was very familiar with all the somatic practices, meditation, journaling, gratitude lists. I did all those things and it had felt like nothing changed. And I started to wonder, are those just band-aids? I thought the thing I needed to heal was so massive that all those things I did were pointless. The way that I feel now about myself, about my life, the relationships that I do keep in my life, and the dream that I'm pursuing, I am still the same person as I was then. But at the same time, it feels like I'm standing on a completely different island. And so I wondered, what was that secret magical ingredient? There's a lot, and it's too much to cover in one video. But the most important thing I just realized recently was that all the small, stupid, pointless things that I thought I was doing were actually the stepping stones that brought me to this new island. If you're not convinced, let me share some personal stories with you. There was a time I was living and traveling abroad, and I would write gratitude lists every day. And I would sit down and I would say, I am so grateful for this cup of coffee. I'm grateful for these people in my life. And it just felt so stupid. And then 2 months later, I went back home and I was in an Uber and I forgot my whole purse. I left my whole purse behind. And the old me would have panicked. I would have just thought it was the end of the world because there were very valuable things in there. I panicked briefly. And then I shifted gear into, okay, well, all the things that I've lost can be replaced. As long as I am still here, those things actually don't matter so much. And I don't know why I knew this, but in the moment, I knew the way I was able to shift quickly into looking for the silver lining was because I've been doing these gratitude lists for months prior. What about these annoying things you hear all the time? You have to love yourself first. You have to practice self-compassion. But what does that mean? What does that actually look like? It was in the moments where I chose to be kind and to give myself that attentiveness that we're all seeking, instead of beating myself up or shaming myself. Those tiny little moments that I chose to do something different, that's how you love yourself. It's actually really simple. You don't need to repeat "I love you" in the mirror 1,000 times because your body won't believe it. What is love for another but just kindness in our presence? When I started going to the gym, I thought, am I just doing this to look hotter for other people? Is this coming from a place of insecurity? And it turns out, no. 5 years later, I've become a certified personal trainer. I feel so much more connected to my body. I feel stronger. I am literally taking up more physical space. Something else that might seem small and stupid, journaling. I've been using this book right here, and this morning the prompt was set a timer on your phone for 5 minutes and just basically raw dog life. And it was the most peaceful and calm and present I have spent with myself probably this whole week. And it's so simple that it feels stupid. And I think that's the problem that a lot of us have, is we are chasing those high moments where it feels like your whole DNA has just been rewritten. What we don't realize is that all these small moments compound, and those are the ones that actually feel safe enough to our nervous system to try. I am so passionate about this because I was not a believer, and I would have maybe given up at some point. But it was every single small, stupid little action that I took that taught me, the younger me, my nervous system, that it is okay to trust this version of me. It's okay to go out in the world and pursue and chase the things that you want, to find connections and relationships that align with what you really, really desire, how you want to feel, how you want to be treated. I would not have been able to convince my younger self that gratitude list would change my life. And that's the funny thing, isn't it? No matter how great a teacher is, you have to touch the hot stove yourself. So I'm not trying to convince you, but I do hope to plant a tiny seed. As someone who has crossed the bridge and are on the other side, I have been where you might be standing now, wondering, is there a point to any of this? And the answer is yes. Yes, there is a point to everything. Start your micro yeses today. And sometimes it sucks. It feels like you're taking 3 steps forward and 2 steps back. But do you know how normal that is? That is actually the entire human experience, and you're not alone. Do it from love. Do it from a place like your best friend that you love and would do anything for. Be the love that you've been searching for and build the home that you want to live in. Micro yeses work because they don't shock the system. The more you do, the more you get out and touch the edges of your comfort zone, the more it becomes actually your natural state. Unfortunately, depending on who's watching, I can't tell you specifically what micro yeses you need, which is why I created a free micro yes starter kit that can help you get started on what your micro yeses might be. Here's the thing about compounding interest. You don't see it working while it's happening in the day-to-day. And then one day you look back over months, over years, your future self will thank you for everything you've done, all the small stupid things that didn't seem to matter. If you enjoyed today's video, I'm launching a new program called Return to Self. The waitlist is down below. This is for you if you're tired of performing, tired of overgiving, overdoing, people pleasing, or on the other side, you've decided to just detach and no longer be bothered by anything. And in reality, shutting down your true desires for what you want. What I hope to build together is a sense of home anchored in our inherent self-worth. Because I'm very familiar with intellectualization, this program is going to be not just about learning new insights, but actually embodying the change. You can also follow me on Substack for fun stuff, and everything is going to be linked down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Be kind to yourself. It'll make a whole world of difference.